Welcome back into the blend. We got Tony from Rockford Retirement Planning back with us this morning. Thank you so much for being here. We always appreciate it when you take the time to come stop by.
Well, thanks for having me. We love being on and clearing some things up for folks. And,
seriously,
yeah.
It's a huge help for a lot of people. And today we're going to be talking estate plans and estate planning. Maybe something that not a lot of people consider until they retire, which does happen. I know a lot of people get that done younger too, right?
Yeah, I find some people will get it done when they get married or when they have kids, but then they kind of stick it in a drawer for 15, 20 years. And the reality is things change, right? Assets change, health changes, your relationships change. So it's not a one and done. A lot of people kind of check the box mentally, say, I got this, and then find out later, wow, that's not what I wanted to have happen.
Absolutely. Yeah. And when you kind of have those changes, how does that even happen if you already have a will and a trust set up? Is it as simple as just sitting down with someone and updating it, or do you need to have legal documents and some other things in place to get that done?
Yeah, no, you'd have to have generally some kind of legal document's going to have to happen. Sometimes it's an amendment. So you can amend a trust, and sometimes you can just restate it.
Okay.
It's almost like you start over, and sometimes that's a little simpler to do.
How important is it to keep that updated, especially as a lot of folks get to retirement? There's just things that do need to be updated because some things just aren't relevant anymore.
Yeah, we recommend at a minimum, at least looking at it every 2 to 5 years. It may not have to change anything, and then you just check the box and go on. But if you don't look at it, sometimes you just don't realize, oh, I had that set up when this person was going to be in charge, and now this person has moved on and I can't rely on them anymore. So like I said, these relationships, it's life, right? Things change.
Absolutely. What are some of the most common things you see that people need to update and change that if they're hearing this now, maybe it's something you got to consider?
So a big problem I see over and over is sometimes people get it done and maybe they went all in and they got the trust and they got the whole package and they have all the documents, but they never got around to actually moving assets into the trust. We call that funding the trust.
Okay.
And sometimes the attorney will send them home to kind of do that on their own, and then that's where the ball gets dropped. So our process is we have a separate meeting just to make sure that trust gets funded, because otherwise you got a very expensive piece of paper that's not going to do a lot of.
And I'm sure a lot of people, it's just something they don't even know where to begin, and it can be overwhelming, so they put it off.
Exactly.
But that's where you guys come in. You're so good about meeting people exactly where they're at, addressing those needs, and that's something you guys are able to do with even just a trust, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, we have the ability to help people create their own estate plan through a software service that we walk them through. But then sometimes I'll have a client who has done it elsewhere, and we still look at it. And just yesterday I found a trust that just they moved the house into the trust, and that was it. And they have retirement accounts, they have brokerage accounts, none of that. They're checking savings, none of it had been dealt with. So they had the paperwork, but they didn't do the follow through, and they didn't know. They had, and they just did it this year. And, but it just felt, and they came in for a review on their finances.
Wow.
And I was like, well, let's at least look at it. And we caught it, and we were able to help them, get that corrected.
That's so nice,
just some paperwork,
too. Seriously. And you have that previously, done plan. You guys can go in there and do that corrective action. And maybe someone's just starting from scratch. I know it can be kind of overwhelming, can seem really expensive. Is that really the case? It
doesn't have to be super expensive, especially with our software service. It's generally cheaper than going to an attorney to do it. It's usually significantly less. So it doesn't have to be inexpensive. It doesn't have to be complicated.
Okay.
I have clients who come in and it's like, look, I have 2 kids, 50-50, and that's all I really want to do. And so, we just write it up that way, and it's really easy.
Make it a straightforward place. Now, I hear easy, and I'm sure some folks watching are like, well, why can't I just do that myself? There's some things you maybe don't want to do yourself. You want an expert.
Right. You definitely, in today's world, you definitely can. There are do-it-yourself options online. And some of them are pretty decent. I just know from experience, I've had a lot of clients that we sent them off to do that, and they'd get part way through, and then they'd get lost or overwhelmed. And when it came to signing all the documents and getting them notarized and having witnesses present, they were like, and I'll do that some rainy Saturday, and then they never do it.
Never gets to it. Yeah, it just happens sometimes, and the challenges pop up, and that's why it's really important just to meet with professionals like you guys. The information, we'll put it up on your screen. So if we're talking about this and you're like, okay, I kind of fall into the category of getting things updated or even just getting the estate done, rockfordretirement.com is the website. You can also give them a phone call, 815-633-9595. Tony is going to get you set up. They'll help answer any questions and hopefully get you all ready to go as you kind of get ready for retirement or whatever change of life it is.
Yeah, and there's just no charge to meet. There's nothing to buy. It's very consultative, just to see. Sometimes we just point you in the right direction. Sometimes we might offer more of a detailed plan.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much again for being here, Tony. We appreciate it.